Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson from the tour. This was pretty fantastic. We talk about these issues all the time in the groups. Here we go. But the closed border, again, is why they hate Trump, and that he wants manufacturing here, and that he's American first. It's his policies that they hate. Let's go on to the next clip.
Giving people who come here illegally cell phones, housing vouchers, free plane tickets. Rural hospitals across the country are closing because the emergency rooms are overburdened by people who broke the law to get here. You can't get health care. Try to go to an emergency room right now. You can't get medical care. You pay for that. It's the most insulting thing I've ever seen. It's, by the way, not an attack on the people who came here. I would have too. I mean, I'm not mad at them, actually. I'm mad at our leaders. I've never seen any population treated the way Americans are being treated by their leaders now. And I'm very worried that at some point people will be like, I'm not putting up with this. I don't know why anybody pays taxes in this country. I'm not, for the record, I'm not counseling not pay your taxes because I don't want to get arrested. But I just don't understand the consent level in this country is still incredibly high. Maybe we're just like moving through the motions or something.
So just treating the citizens, illegal immigrants over, illegal aliens over citizens. And it seems like a plan. Cloward and Piven wrote a book on it, Overwhelm the System. And they are. Look, we've got $35 trillion in debt. They're overwhelming the system. And they're changing the culture, right? Because they go in Marxist indoctrination centers. So they won't have anything in common. And one of the early anti-federalist papers, you have to have the same values and interest. Next clip.
And because they are good people, they're dutiful people, and they just do what they think they're supposed to do. But I don't know why they're doing it. Why would you send $1 to people who laugh over your death? Your nephew dies of fentanyl and they don't care, and you're still sending them money? I don't get that, honestly.
Yeah, and the answer, though, Tucker, is because they've done a successful pattern of show trials. And,
I know.
And no, this is a real thing. Why do I still pay taxes and you? Obviously, because we have friends in federal prison. Like Steve Bannon right now is in federal prison for not committing a crime. And so, they do this, by the way, to chill the population, to remind you that your door could get knocked on next and your business could get raided. Now, mind you, this is what Sam Francis, by the way, you're not allowed to talk about Sam Francis, who I love. He had a great term called anarcho-tyranny, which is anarchy for the stuff they don't care about, but tyranny for political crimes. So if you walk the streets of San Francisco, you'll see a bunch of junkies shooting up, people defecating on the side of the street. You could probably get mugged or robbed. Would anyone feel safe walking San Francisco at night? Of course not. And by the way, that alone is a violation of the social contract. If you can't walk your most beautiful cities in your country at night, your leaders have failed and they all must go. That is a very simple test of your leaders. If you cannot walk the most beautiful cities you have at night, you're done. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. If you can't walk in Dallas or Houston or Austin, if you don't feel safe in your own cities at night, then you're a prisoner in your own home.
Well, and what's the point of government? Like, what is the point of government, actually? I mean, if
that's
public
the most
safety
basic thing
isn't the point of government, then what is it? To spread trannyism around the world? I mean, like, there's no other point.
Or taxpayer-funded abortions, I guess. I mean, but just to give you an idea of the scale, do you know that we have brought in 5% of the population of Haiti? 5% of the population of Haiti. And no one is stopping it.
We say this all the time. Why are we paying taxes? They just print money anyway. There should never be a tax increase in this nation, ever. They never follow it. So again, you wouldn't reward bad children if they spent their allowance every week and you gave them $20 a week for an allowance and they spent $80 and took money out of your purse and stole money from your wallet as a man in your wife's purse. You wouldn't give them $200 to reward that. You'd punish them. So there should never be a tax increase, and we should decrease spending. And we should close the borders. The leaders have failed. Ultimately, you should be able to walk through cities. He's talking about you should be able to walk through Los Angeles. I remember Los Angeles at one time. I remember San Francisco when it was amazing, and I would walk all over San Francisco. Then I went back one time, and I didn't want to go back hardly. But it used to be beautiful, and it is still a beautiful city when you're just looking at it, right? When you're just looking at it, it's fine, but there's too much crime. So Americans should be able to safely walk through cities. I mean, what's the point of the city government? What are you paying taxes for? What are you paying property taxes for? What are you paying city taxes for? What are you paying sales tax for if they cannot keep it? They're doing something wrong, and they're denigrating their residents and their citizens of the United States. If you can't go to a city and walk through it, Dallas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, disasters. Then he talks about diversity is not our strength, as well as Aristotle talked about that in that piece I was talking about. That's a way for tyrants to rule over you because you won't have the same virtues. Next clip.
But I really believe that there's such a hatred for Christianity that any part of the population that is like remotely Christian, they inherently hate you because the real goal is to eliminate Christianity. Do you notice that they never are like enthusiastic about bringing in major parts of the population of Eastern Europe that are super Christian? Yet they're like, let's go bring in the witchcraft country. Kind of weird. Like more witchcraft, less Christianity. I don't understand how that works out. But the contempt is very simple, is that they think that they are so much better than you. It is an elitist hierarchical position, and that you're an annoyance. That your concerns, that what you're doing is just kind of stay out of the way. And I know people disagree with me. I think this is behind the push for legalizing marijuana. I think this is the push for trying to overly medicate the society, is they do not want a disagreeable citizenry. This is why they want testosterone rates to go down. This is why they wanted to kick the military men out of the alpha men out of the military with the vaccine, is because a population that asks questions and stands up to the powerful is a threat to them. So they'd much rather have you be subdued, just watch TV, not care about what's happening, and just kind of stay on your benzodiazepines or Valium or marijuana and 3 beers a night, and then you're agreeable. But what has always made America different as a beacon of liberty is that we would call BS on tyranny whenever we see it. And that is what is at the heart of this movement. And they look at you as an annoyance.
So this is a way to control you, right? So again, we're going back to 121 to 122.30, 121 to 122.30. So again, this would be an effective way to what? Control you, right? Take away your God, take away your Christianity, attack Christianity, put you into relativism, you're all confused. Say you might be a man if you're a woman, confusion, not as strong. Take away your testosterone, lower testosterone. Makes you easier to control, right? And that's proof. Men with testosterone are more disagreeable, right? So easier to control. And we need men to stand up. Men need to rise and lead. Through the court's misinterpretation of the First Amendment, I believe on purpose, they tried to, instead of saying what it was meant to, the First Amendment was merely to restrain the federal government, not the states. Merely the federal government, not the states, which means the states can have the 10 Commandments anywhere they want it. Can have prayer. They can do what they want. What it prevented was the government forcing a religion on them or having a national church. The Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, and all of them were meant to restrain the federal government. So when that court case happened, when they took the Danbury letter and used it against the people in the court case, they changed the meaning. They didn't change the meaning because it's still there, but they misinterpreted the First Amendment. All it means was you can't have a national church. They tried to create separation of church and state, which had nothing to do with state governments. It was only to restrain the federal government. We're not going into the 14th Amendment. But it was meant to eliminate, there's factions that want to eliminate Christianity. So take away testosterone, but give you pot, right? Take away testosterone, but give you bread and circuses, entertainment. White, easy to control. Watch your games, do your entertainment, bread and circuses. But don't have testosterone, don't smoke cigars, and don't get together with your fellow men. There was a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death. It was a good book about that, getting caught up in entertainment and not paying attention. And of course, we'll end with men need to pay attention to the country. All right, let's go to the next clip.
Do people want to be free? And that is a very difficult question to answer. In the book of Exodus and Numbers, the answer is no. Is that if you fail to teach a generation the value of liberty, they actually instinctively don't want to be free. When God delivered his chosen people out of Egypt and he performed the most amazing miracles imaginable, the Nile River goes red and frogs from the sky and the firstborn dead and the Red Sea parts and they go into the Sinai desert. After a couple chapters, they're like, hey, we want to go back to Egypt. We want to go back to slavery. Why? Because the food was better. Literally, we had melons, leeks, cucumbers, and meat. And they say, hey, Moses, can we go back to Egypt? Now, mind you, this is when God blew quail off course and manna from heaven, and they need and wanted for nothing. But they preferred to be slaves that were taken care of than free citizens in the desert where they had to be responsible. And that is a very important lesson for all of us, that liberty is a value that we must pass on, that we must cherish, and part of the population will never wake up because they would rather be in Egypt.
So this last clip, we really like it, restoring men in history, because what do we want to do? Restore men, restore history, restore the Constitution, restore the Republic, right? So those are our principles of restoring men in history. So we want you to be reading, learning, reading good books. Like he says, 1984, Gulag Archipelago is a good one. I've read both. They're fantastic. Brave New World, the Soma in the book, right? They've got that going on today. So freedom versus anti-freedom. Freedom versus totalitarian. What do we do to protect ourselves? Read, think, become better thinkers. And he talks about a good point here. Do we want a warrior? Well, he's not talking about this. I'm going to speak to it. He's talking about it. We have to teach liberty, right? And we talk about this all the time. And I ask this question to the men in the groups. I say, how do we get people to be excited about liberty, about freedom? And it has to be taught, right? And he has a good example there of coming out. Those people wanted to stay, right? They just wanted the food. They wanted to stay and be slaves. So what we want to do is teach that freedom. We want the spirit of whom? Of Patrick Henry, right? The great Patrick Henry. He had a lot of children. But what did he say? He said, give me liberty or give me death. I do not know what course you may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. That was the great Patrick Henry. George Mason saying, Sam Adams saying. So we need that spirit of liberty in you men, because you men are the leaders of the family. You men are the leaders of the United States of America, and you can be that. We want you to be that. This is a great opportunity for you, by the way, to take that mantle of leadership and let the torch of liberty pass to you, men. Patrick Henry had it. He was a great man. Had a lot of kids, but he wasn't afraid to die, just like Donald Trump's not afraid to die. Or maybe Donald Trump is afraid to die, but going forward anyway, right? And maybe Patrick Henry didn't want to die, but he wasn't afraid to die. So education is important, and getting information and staying up on issues. This is why we do this. Constitution is important. Your liberty is important to us. If you like our message, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe.